Welcome to your astrological natal chart, a report. This is the Peace Dealer. Thank you so very much for your patience. And I just hope you gain the utmost of quality from this report. One moment. Okay. Is that everything? Okay. We're going to look into the amazing... Oh my God! And to me, Sagittarius is a creator, God, goddess. But I didn't even see that your sun was in Sagittarius. And when I said amazing, I was going to say the amazing potential of your chart. And amazing is Sagittarius. So I want you to take into consideration that instance that happened just now, because that in a nutshell is Sagittarius magic. It's like seeing what is already in the mind at a certain level. Okay. Keep that in mind. Because, you concerning the creators, you are a master creator. Actually, this is even more. It's not hilarious, but it's funny that I say that because your Virgo moon, is actually more so a product, or your Virgo moon actually gives you the quality of mastery, right? So this is what it makes you the master of ascension, which I'll get into. But not only is your sun a master, your moon is the sign of the master. So your rising sign is mastered. So I'll start off with your AC, and the fact that you being a Scorpio rising gives you the quality of the queen, as a queen. So you are pure Queen Chelsea. If you know, Aquarius is a celestial king queen and Taurus is a natural king queen. Scorpio is the underworld pure king queen. And we don't have to put the underworld, even though we see Pluto. Never mind. But yes, very, very awesome. In fact, your GOAT squad. We would like to take this time to applaud Queen Chelsea. She was born around the period of the GOATs. Don't worry, 89. All y'all born late 89, you're honorary 90s. I know you consider yourselves 80s kids. Man, those 80s kids don't claim y'all. Come over here to the 90s land where the GOATs live. We got you. Okay? Especially if I'm going to say that again. Don't think that these 80s kids claim y'all. They don't. Just come over here and become honorary 90s kids where the GOATs are. Welcome to GOAT Squad, Queen Chelsea. Once again, late 89 too, not even all of 89. The portion of 89 with the North Node in Aqua, y'all are GOAT Squad. I mean, the other 89 is too. We see you. 88, what's up too? 87, 88, what's up? But 89, come on over to GOAT Squad, especially December 89. Chelsea, you're basically one of us. I'm just going to be honest. So you were on our incarnation plane. And what that means is I'm born 1990. So you and I, our generations, we have Jupiter exalted in Cancer. We have Saturn in dignity in Capricorn. And you actually are next to this as Sag. So we're going to get into how so freaking amazing this is. And you have all this Capricorn energy. And Mercury here too. Jesus Christ. And then you just need to understand. Oh, and then Pluto and Scorpio. So, and that makes you an instrument of Pluto to a degree. So you have to understand that the energy that we represent, 8990, is the peak of power. If you think about planetary dignity's potential and what's possible, there's no other configuration of energy, save the children being born now, that almost blow us out the water, except they don't have any water. So like that. So like think about it. Like the people being born now have Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn. So we don't have Pluto, but we have it in Scorpio, and we make up for that with Uranus and Neptune. We don't have Jupiter in Cap, but we have something better, Jupiter exalted in Cancer. So that opposition completes the fullness of the power. And the only one who could really rival our power are children now, especially if you have children born now. They're inheriting your superpower. And once they come of age, it's actually going to be us that guides them. But other than that, I'm saying this because you have incredibly high authority. And like the reason why I go out of my way to make these quote unquote jokes about us being the greatest of all time is, one, we are. Okay, 94 extends this to be the greatest of the greats. And two, other than the other 90s, it's only, okay, 88 and 89 who has Saturn and Cap, that has, and 90. The triple conjunction of Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus is one of the most definitively powerful conjunctions ever of all time. So you having Mercury and your sun near there, out of everyone who has this, me included, you're one of the more powerful ones, which is badass. But now, okay, you're Queen Chelsea, and Queen Chelsea is a master creator goddess. So it makes sense you'd be Goat Squad. Shall I go in? Let's go in. So once again, as a Scorpio rising, this puts your sun in the second house. And this, of course, is what allows you to manifest the potential of your spirit. And not only that, I'm very familiar with this energy, because to a degree, okay, these are a bit, how do I say, to a degree, I can actually, relate. I mean, not entirely, because no. I can actually relate, because you and I are somewhat of opposites. Not entirely, but definitely in the sense where, okay, definitely in the sense where, I'm a Taurus rising with a second house Gemini sun, and you're a Sagittarius rising with a second house Sagittarius sun, Scorpio rising, second house sun. So we both at some level have the experience of our mutable magic being a product and possession of what we have. Okay. So this is the difference between being magic as a Sagittarius rising, which at this point you've evolved your physiology. You've evolved your physiology to attain how do I even call it? Sag rising physiology is definitely a shapeshifter, but as you're born, your magic is a quality of the spirit that you have. And what I mean by that is, unlike, once again, mutable sign risings, you actually possess your spirit. Like, for example, you paid me to talk Gemini about the truth of your chart, which is first house, second house Gemini. And so I'm getting my second house capital through clearly, communicating. And as a Taurus rising, I produce and manifest that. Boom. So you kind of want to not reverse this, but look at this at the complete end, because now Scorpio and Sag is at the complete, you could even say higher level. So you're taking the pure nature of your personality. If Taurus is the producer, Scorpio manifest meaning Sagittarius through wisdom. If I'm manifesting value by expressing Gemini what is, you're coming into value by showing people. If Gemini tells people, you're showing people what certain things mean, what experiences mean. It doesn't have to be in a counseling setting, because where I'm the Aquarius MC, you're the Leo MC. So this is more performer. This is more someone who's supposed to, actually be in the spotlight. And even having a Sag rising, a Scorpio rising with the second house Sagittarius, you're lively. Oh, I see that 26-degree trine with your MC and Sun. You're actually meant to make big bucks. Although the second house Sagittarius is not about money, it's about freedom. Even though that can, that could be freedom that comes from money and just travel. But the fire houses in earth houses, the fire signs in earth houses is a commitment with 6th house Aries to do work that you're passionate about. And it's so much so that if you don't love the job you're working at, it's never going to work. So it's like you either have to actually enjoy what you're doing, or you have to find a place where you like doing what you're doing. And that's not really like a general advice. Some people have fire risings and earth houses. So it doesn't matter if they like their job or not. They have to work a more traditional job. Some people, they have air house signs and earth houses. It's not about working hard. They have to work smart, like myself. So, it really depends on what your archetype is. You being the pure queen ruler, I think it makes sense as a master creator goddess that you don't really have to work like other people have to work, because you could literally create whatever the fuck you want with just your will. And now this is where we get into the fact that you are part of the most powerful generation of all time. Okay, once again, having this Capricorn energy is not really menial. It's the hugest deal ever, because it's awakening for the first time ever. And it takes 30 years to actually activate this energy. Hence why anyone born after the late 80s and the 90s are late bloomers. We're the only ones with this Capricorn energy. This has the rest of the older generation scratching their head, because they don't understand why the traditions that work for them we're basically just shitting on. We're not getting married at the time we're supposed to get married. We're not buying houses. That's because our generation is going to innovate completely structure. A lot of people from our generation are multimillionaire entrepreneurs just from our phones. And we're not even really stepping into our energy. So just keep that in mind. We're here to completely change tradition, to innovate it and transcend it. And but there's a key here. It doesn't mean that people in our generation haven't reached success early. It just means that we're meant to come into it 30s and after. And it's specifically for a reason. The adamant of completing the Saturn return completes power in such a way that now shifts the culture considerably, in that what we do and how we come to success and what we consider norm is literally alien, especially 91, 92 with Saturn in the alien Aquarius, to what our ancestors, to what the older generation, even as soon as Pluto Libra, have expected from us. In fact, if you consider even Pluto Libra, all that Capricorn energy squares them. So it's even going to clash with them. And this is what makes Pluto Scorpio 83 to 95 not only the rarest generation, but the one that's going to destroy everything that we've known to be normal in light, to lead to the 95 post and beyond generation is going to create, something actually amazing. Instead of these lies we have inherited, unfortunately. But I don't really say that I don't say that with too much disdain, because we're so incredible. There's just a lot that we're getting ready right now more than ever to incorporate a whole life experience. And so to see that you have Mercury on here, so badass. First of all, the instrument quality of Pluto literally allows you to like perform psychic surgery and almost exhibit X-ray vision, because the Scorpio rising alone is first of all, it's going to make you very keenly sensitive, receptive to people's sensitivities and psychology. Okay, because especially the petty nature, especially for the petty nature of a lot of you personally coming into, especially considering the nature of, oh wow, especially considering the nature of, I would say, a lot of this Plutonian energy definitely giving you, definitely giving you a greater discernment when it comes into really tapping into not only who a person is, but more or less being keenly aware of, how negative someone is, and rather what they really think, okay, despite the, bias that, others may kind of have. It basically makes it impossible for people to lie to you. Okay. On top of this, you definitely also want to be mindful, because a whole lot of how your Pluto rising could manifest has once again a lot to do with an extreme reaction that people will be predisposed to have as well. And a lot of that could really frustrate you if you seek to have a rational understanding for why said thing or said reactions are happening, when it's really just the pure nature of your unconscious that is evoking. Let me stop saying it like this. Let me just say it matter of fact. Pure nature of your rising is just going to stir up the demons in others. We also, because Pluto is purity, Pluto is a ruler of demonic forces. And so this lends to fire signs with this being exorcists, because especially as with the spirit of the creator, your superpower is that you're all seeing, especially as a master sag. So like you manifest meaning for people, and this is going to get you a lot of abundance, especially considering that when Jupiter is in your second house, you begin them racks and you begin them stacks. And so I think that applies if Jupiter rules your second and that's in your ninth. Yes, it's in your eighth, but it's really in your ninth if we're using the whole signs. Jupiter loves to be in the ninth. So as a Scorpio rising, you got a badass chart. Let's just be honest. Chiron here makes you empathic, yes, but there's a supernatural quality to the power mechanism. If you think of Saturn as completion, liberation, and authority, this authority you have over the awareness of integrity. Okay, because Capricorn is your second, third house, you promote integrity of values through a lot of the attitude that really allows you to express your skills quite incredibly. And so, based on that as well, this is what's really, really, really going to stir up a different level and dynamic of how powerfully your own words aid in the magical nature of your spirit. Case in point, now more than ever, because you've always had this your whole life, but you want to think of the Saturn return as completing this power. Whereas up until this point, you would do what I'm about to say and you would barely either notice it or you'd have small effects, versus now where you say it happens. You ready? You visualize it with your sun in Sagittarius, you see it in your mind's eye, and then you say it, you speak it, boom, you've literally just created that reality. And what I just said may sound like a superpower. It's not even a superpower. For a human, for me maybe, for a master creator goddess, just an afternoon. Swear to God. But I mean, I don't have to tell you that. You know this. You live this. It's even more incredible because this tied to your attitude in the third house not only denotes you being a child prodigy with the influence of Uranus, but with Neptune grants you telepathy, especially now with your Virgo moon's ability to effortlessly be receptive to the body language and the minute details that shift in the physiological functions of people, in their reactions to things. That slight smirk or slight twitch of the brow is actually just going to give you all the information about what someone's thinking in freaky psychic ways that it shouldn't, because you shouldn't be able to know what someone ate for breakfast just by the way they winked their brow, or you shouldn't be able to know what a person's thinking in their head because they couldn't look you in the eyes. Like there's certain context that's not always there because the way you discern this information is supernatural. Please keep this in mind. You're not a human. You're a master creator goddess. So, with the mastery of your spirit, of course, you're not necessarily, you're going to be able to skip certain steps and it still be on point. And the reason why this is important is because a lot of the Chiron opposition you're healing through is the need to stop doubting your divinity. It's not your fault. Your 12th house Libra makes this square to Saturn, and it makes this square to Jupiter. And so one huge problem with Sagittarians is they're always trying to show others who don't have the capacity to even see as far as they can that they are magic, that they are bridging in realities that others can't see. And the burden of proof isn't on you. And this is see, because I don't want to set you up as someone who tries to prove that they're magic. Not at all. But there's certain it triggers the Virgo moon, and it's the clash between Virgo and Sagittarius, because Virgo has to be analytical. Sagittarius wants to be open-minded. Sagittarius doesn't all the time feel like it has to be analytically on point because it sees everything. Virgo feels like Sagittarius sometimes could overlook certain details because they think they know everything, but they need it on point, and this is what they teach each other. But it doesn't really matter because Sagittarius holds an authority and superiority over Virgo, even though Virgo is what Sag looks up to. What am I saying? There's a very unconscious neurotic sense of yourself that feels like you have to prove and show proof for what you know, when you actually don't. You actually don't. You're Queen Chelsea. And like, if people have a problem with Queen Chelsea, you got the executioner Mars, and you can just chop their head off. Does that sound extreme? Welcome to the world of Pluto, because a lot of your authority shouldn't even be doubted. And so your Sagittarius sun can be like, well, they just don't understand. But your Pluto and Saturn know it's a complete disrespect to your authority. And like, in this postmodern age, people have forgotten fear. People have forgotten respect. So they feel like they can just say anything to anybody. They feel like they can just call their presidents or leaders anything because everyone has a voice and everyone has an opinion, until they meet an actual, real, true royal. And then they get in a car accident because you looked at them the wrong way. And now you think it was because of the driver. Shit like this happens every day. And someone like you is aware of these transdimensional supernatural dynamics because, you not only are a goddess of magic, you are queen ruler, and dare I say, of the underworld. When I say queen ruler, there's a high emphasis of rulership here. The ruler of your entire chart is like sitting on the crown of your AC. And Mars is right next to it. So there's a determined focus and a magical understanding of energy that you're able to apply that also allows your actions to be aligned with who you truly are, hence the sun being in the same sign as Mars. So I don't really, once again, want to set up that you're trying to prove so much, but that Chiron opposition to Saturn is the need to empathize with others so that you could feel like you at least are acknowledged for what you believe. When the whole notion of people getting your radical beliefs is totally irrelevant because you're the leader. You're literally the person who's going to show people things that they will never believe but later accept, and it's going to be you who was their connect. Okay, and that doesn't necessarily involve having to really prove your way. Outside of that, this isn't really an issue I feel you'll ever have again, because the Saturn return really kind of prepared that, and or at least completed that lesson. And with you having, your Venus in Aquarius, this is going to really set you up for progressive relationships that really take into account the detached nature of quote unquote love, but really sex, and definitely allow you a lot to, really, 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 really inspire others accordingly. So Venus in Aquarius is going to connect with your Mars and Sag to make you not only very adventurous, but very, intellectual as well. You really love knowledge, and you're able to extend unconditional love in an agape sense, where you're not really going to, favor one person more than the other, because you're objective. And this makes you more mature in love. Just be careful, because the Venus in Aqua is 5 of Swords in Tarot. So you're the type of woman that loves arguments, because it stimulates this negative sense of sexual tension that Venus in Aquarius could be super mischievous and tricky with. And also because it squares Pluto, just be prepared for unnecessary jealousy. That being said, if we also look into the significance of Saturn's current transit into Aquarius, that will occur with Jupiter coming into next year, this is going to get ready to activate and manifest not only your destiny, but also really flesh out the true strength of your heart and align it more with integrity before this evolves accordingly. One thing to keep in mind with, I think, specifically our destiny group, it affects everybody, but something to keep very grossly in mind is the intensity with which you're going to receive negativity from others. And this has a lot to do, much more, with your willingness to allow this Cancer energy to sound, I won't say sound bad, but to sound bored, the nature of emotions you just feel in general. So the reason why I'm saying this is, in your experience of this, it's nothing you really want to take personal, as much as it is the response and reaction of weaker vibrations to your strong vibration. And I really have to make sure I illustrate this accordingly and properly, because now that you're at a very crucial element to fully awaken your abilities, this is definitely going to be the first part, perhaps, of how this all manifests, in a sense where you may realistically come into you personally understanding at a different level your responsibility towards not only harnessing this power, but now deciding on how you literally control who receives what aspect of karma due to their actions. In other words, especially as a master creator goddess, you're stepping more into the actual definition of what consequence and judgment people's actions allow them to deserve. And this could also be a positive consequence and judgment. I would say this is something that's only happening to Sag, Cap, and Aqua, which is just more so part of the payroll, part of the job, but definitely something to keep in mind. I do want to emphasize once again the emotional sense of unsolicited opinions and feelings you may sense indirectly, just because of how you stand firm in your own strength, which has less to do with you and more to do with how your stance may threaten others. Something to just see once again more as a difference between your strength and other weaknesses that will react. The reason why I'm kind of framing this for you not to take personal is because it's not personal. It's just chemistry. It's just really more weaker energies reacting to stronger, more powerful energies. And you representing the literal height of power, as does late 89 and 90, it's just inevitable. It's just inevitable. Think of all the most powerful people in the world and how all sorts of people who've never met them ever in their life have the most intense things to say about them. This is because they're weak. And that's just their reaction to strong energies. Now, whether those strong people are good or bad, doesn't matter. It's just science. It's just energy. So something to keep in mind, especially once this Aquarius energy comes online and you start to really convert this value privately into deeper understanding. Now, as a 23-degree Scorpio rising, which both of us can relate because I'm 27-degree Taurus, we both have our ACs at the end of the sign. So even though I'm using equal sign system, I'm going to interpret this as a whole sign system. So why is this important? The ruler of your first house is in your first house. We see that it's in the 12th, but because Scorpio rules your chart, we'll just see Pluto is behind the AC, but still a first house energy coming out the 12th. So this is beautiful. The ruler of your first house is in your significator. It's in the 12th, which adds so much depth to your character and subsequently intimidation. This allows you to not only be an instrument of this Pluto energy as an alien, but also allows you the ability to cause and help others see what's happening on deeper levels. This is also very, very important because all your Cancer energy is trining this. And this definitely allows you to now feel a lot of the depth of your understanding of yourself with a much deeper element of psychological and practical application as seen with how you interact with other people's feelings and psychology. So the significance of the significator in your first house definitely enables you to come into a super wise instrument quality of wisdom itself, not only enabling you to also be very much so a how do I say it?
not only to very much so be an authority of wisdom, but to literally also be it itself. Okay. So seeing that the ruler of your first house is in your first speaks to this depth of quality of how much you have wisdom about yourself and can express it to others. Even though it's not in the seventh house, I like to believe that this wisdom of self applies to others and allows you to psychoanalyze others mercilessly. Now, the ruler of your second house is in your ninth house. It's in the eighth house, as we see in other systems, but because your ninth house is Cancer as a Scorpio rising based on the equal signs,
What's your take
then
on?
we also see that Oh wow. Then we also see that this ninth house element of Jupiter here, where it rules, is very powerful. The ruler of your second house, where your sun is, about wealth and self esteem, is influenced by the ruling planet's energy in the house of travel and also God and philosophy. And this will also show how the more cultured you are and the more you explore philosophically or physically, the more this adds to your sense of self worth. We also have to make sure we illustrate the affinity of Jupiter in the ninth house, and not only being in the ninth house, but exalted in Cancer. And because this makes a quincunx to your sun indirectly, it now presents a transformative quality through which your own emotions can allow you to heighten the meaning of experiences you're very much so aware of. And with your moon in Virgo, know how. Which, if Gemini answers what, Virgo answers how, Sagittarius answers what it means, and Pisces answers why, then your specific sun moon combination allow you to understand how things mean what they mean, which is super gangster because no one can lie to you. And then you're also Scorpio rising. So not only do you have like lie detector, X-ray vision, your Mars can literally just murk them for lying to you, which Mars will do. Maybe your Sag sun is cool and it's like, oh, I forgive you. But Mars is like, oops, I already killed you. You lied to me. Should have never lied to the queen. And that's just what it is. So other than that, we have your third house, which is in the third house. So we now have twice now on some super gangster-ish, the ruling planet of a house being in that same sign. And this is very important because you want to look at the ruling planet as the jurisdiction that an energy has. So like before your sun in the second house has the onus to create and manifest your worth, it has to report to Jupiter in your ninth. This is gonna happen within milliseconds. It's very unconscious. Or in this case, because it's your sun conscious, you're gonna look to your philosophy to really govern a lot of what you create. Well, we know that your attitude in Capricorn is enforced and ruled by Saturn in Capricorn. So this really lends to intense imperial integrity in the way you formulate your ideas. Third house is also the house of skills. So we see Mercury, Neptune, and Uranus here. And this really makes for a supernatural souffle of real telekinesis, molecular manipulation, and physical structure, all of which is awakening now for the first time, really. And this really also speaks to the power and constructive nature of your mind and how intuitively guided you are with all the power of that mind to really create and express, which is even better because your Virgo moon taps into this. So you're now also feeling how to, change this dynamic real time and add much more precision into your actions. So your third house ruler in your third house, of course, you see it's in your second house, but based on the whole signs, this is a third house energy, is going to speak of the integrity of your body language represented through your attitude. And this is important because this authority you have on important ideas and attitudes is what will grant you the level of power to really just look at criticism against you for what it is. Meaningless. And I seriously mean that. So if we now look at the ruler of your fourth house, we see it's in your third house. And even though, once again, most of Aquarius is your third, based on this chart, it's really your fourth house. So the ruler of your ancestry and understanding and private life in your third house, one unconventionally ties a lot of your private world to your own thoughts and to the attitude that constructs your world. Two, makes highly unconventional your ability to become a real estate tycoon, because Saturn near Uranus will allow you to manifest physically unconventional plans, ideologies, and MOs or any plan of action to facilitate not only unconventional living spaces, but to innovate the practice of real estate accordingly as well. And could also lead into, once again, just highly unconventional ability to very radically understand an individual. The third house will allow you to understand individuals at first glance, okay? Because this will really allow you to analyze an individual's attitude near instantly. The ruler of your fifth house in your third. And so this means that the divine nature of your talents and connection with inner children is highly influenced by your attitude. And this is why, once again, your attitude being aligned with integrity is so very important, because this already influences your third, fourth, and fifth house of attitude, private life, and talent and creativity. So this Neptunian influence adds this divine astral realm energy into your awareness and willingness to really harness this energy appropriately in ways that now also lend to reality warping, because we know that your moon in Virgo is opposite this aspect. So this is what makes you receptive to what can be changed in this reality, this real world, to now make way for extra dimensional metaphysical properties that have not yet been manifested because you haven't decided it. And when I say decided it, that's Capricorn. Once you make that decision, just with your attitude, because you have the strength of Scorpio rising, shit becomes real. And I seriously mean that, because Mercury alone, okay, harnesses all this strength with your ability to process information physically, which is so badass, because once again, your mind and your soul are linked in this highly magical way. So keep that in mind. The serious nature of your mind highly influences the intuitive, strange, but divine element of your own intuition. The ruler of your sixth house is in your first. Boom. And we say that because Mars in Sagittarius, 0 degrees, puts this in your second house. I apologize. It's in your first based on its equal sign, but it's in the house of the second. So the ruler of your sixth house here in Aries is in your second house, which, if we blend with the first, highly influences your behavior based off of the actions you take off of your own personality and how valuable you feel these actions are. It's a fancy way of saying that this sets you up for success when it comes to manifesting money, because the nature of your lifestyle and work is going to be influenced by the go-getting, magical, creative action that constitutes everything and all the freedom you're here to manifest. This is going to align your focus a lot much more passionately, and also allow you very creatively to pave your own way and make your own living due to the independence of this energy alone. Then we have the ruler of your seventh house, which is in your fourth, all right, in Aquarius, coming out of the third house to really color the nature of your relationships with others based on the knowledgeable quality of your heart that will now bring into conversation this weird but genius element that allows others to think outside the box, as well as bring a literal alien vibration to every relationship you're in. But because this is in the fourth house, this is also going to denote your ability to make your relationships with others feel like awkward friendships. And I mean that in the best way, not in a way that feels cringy, but in a way that you feel at home being weird together. Is it that you're weird? No. It's that it's different from the norm. And so this is the flavor of beauty you bring to any relationship, because the ruler of your seventh is in this unconventional house that's also ruled by Uranus in your third. And then the ruler of that third ends in Saturn. This cements a lot more the unique attributes you bring to every relationship. This is also going to evoke jealousy, because you're not able to be manipulated in a sense that allows insecure people to control you. And so they're going to make that your problem because they're little bitches. Now, we do see the ruler of your eighth also in your third house. And this is going to constitute the very powerful, disciplined, and controlled element with which allows you to deal with others very incredibly. Because Gemini is in your eighth, you can glean and deal with others in ways that literally brings hidden information and secrets. And so Mercury, the ruler of that in your third, which is also the ruler of your 11th house, both in your third, allow you to deal with such trust issues in a way that's practical and in a way that actually sees you out ahead. But it's very important seeing that the ruler of your 8th and 11th house in the third really allow your own body language and presence of mind as it pertains to your awareness of your physiology to apply this into more grounded ways of directly dealing with other people, so that the mental nature of Gemini is grounded through your body and thus your body language. The ruler of your 9th house, so gangster, is in your 9th house, just like Saturn, which not only frees up the full power of Jupiter exalted here, but adds more to the power of its conjunction with Chiron, and will allow you to harness peak emotional states to connect directly with God, because the 9th house is the house of God. And this is going to speak of the quality of the adventures and the knowledge you learn and teach to be of the highest quality. This is important because unlike other people who also have Jupiter in Cancer, like myself, you're going to harness this at some of the highest level because the significator of the house it rules is in that house. And so this is just going to speak more of a higher peak you can reach, amongst other things. The ruler of your 10th house is in your 2nd house. And so similar to the other work house, Aries, this is also going to lend towards great self-esteem, as well as a super powerful element of, what's the word? Courage. There we go. Super powerful element of courage. Because the ruler of your public house is in the house of your 2nd, this is going to lend a lot towards your willingness and ability to really come into so much confidence every time you put yourself outside of your comfort zone, because of this natural receptivity that utilizes a lot of your spiritual awareness and talent to really affirm more why you are mastered here and worth what you're worth. The perfect trine to your MC and Sun is even more perfect because this is going to allow you to directly harness. You don't have anything clashing your MC. It naturally aligns. And so you're naturally going to create the energy needed to fulfill this lesson as a public figure. We went over the 11th, which in the 3rd will highlight your receptivity to your friendships based on who's receptive to your ideas and attitudes. They link very well. And then the ruler of your 12th house, just like your 7th in Taurus, is in the 4th. And so this allows you a much more genius method to glean hidden enemies because your Venus in Aqua is not a freaking idiot, and it knows how to sense who's a frenemy and who's just being fake as hell. And you can literally just hear that with just how people say things. And so people might feel weird that you cut them off because you already know they're full of crap. I hope you enjoyed this deluxe report. That, in a nutshell, is a delineation of course, your chart. Conditions of death could be seen by the 4th house, which we see its rulers in your 3rd. And so Uranus will denote perhaps an unexpected windfall of inheritance, or more so unexpected, because it's the 2nd to your Sag Sun, unexpected just uber wealth. In Capricorn, this denotes that you're going to pass, like, should you die, because I don't even think you're going to die, to be honest. Like, I think you'll ascend into light. But Uranus now being related to conditions of death in Capricorn means that you're going to live to a very long age, because Capricorn, the age of Capricorn is like late 80s. And with Saturn here, Saturn in Capricorn is that energy where it's like, even if it's just bone, like, I'm not going to die until the very, very end. So in the 2nd, 3rd, it also denotes wealth. So you're definitely, you're not going to pass before you accomplish everything you wanted to. I hope, I know you already know this, but yeah, something important to keep in mind. And yeah, I hope you really enjoyed this reading. Thank you so much for your patience. You stay blessed as always. And until next time,